and ask government to provide another alternative, because they are cheating on parents. In fact, you don't even need one terminal exam to write and enter into the university. You can apply. It's done everywhere in the world. When you are going to some universities overseas, do you sit for any JAM exam? You submit your paperwork. When they see you are qualified, they admit you. And some of those people who didn't write JAM but have gotten admission all over the world, are studying in the US too. They do better. Are they not the one breaking grounds all over the world? They are the ones who are inventing products that are being used in America, they are being used in Europe, used all over the world. So that monopoly must be checked. And if they have maybe extra money after administering the exam, they don't need to go and give it back to the government. They should fund the infrastructure, digital infrastructure.
Yes.
What stops JAM from having CBT centers in all the 774 local government areas of Nigeria? If they do that, then we'll not be having these rickety centers where maybe somebody is not prepared but has seen an opportunity in raking in money because of JAM CBT. Then they hurriedly put things together, and in Nigeria you can always have your way. Go and get the license to come and run the CBT. When you go in there, nothing is in place, and students are at the receiving end. And at the end, the Minister for Education is saying it's because they are fighting exam malpractice. No, I think there's more to it. That monopoly must be broken.
Okay, Mr. Ortega, let's also have your thoughts on this. Weigh in on the preparedness and how adequately equipped JAM is in continuing to administer the unified tertiary matriculation examination.
Okay, I also believe that JAM is not adequately prepared to administer this exam. How many JAM centers do we have, for instance, in Benue State? We have in Makurdi, we have in Boko, and then we have in Utukpo. It will interest you to know that the center in Aliede is under Makurdi. So on that day of JAM, students in Makurdi were moving to Aliede to write JAM under Makurdi Center. Students in Oju were moving to Otukpo to write JAM.
It's crazy.
Students in Kasinala were coming to Boko. So are they actually prepared? The resources are there, but the facilities are not enough. JAM should have facilities, these technological facilities across all the local governments. JAM should be written in all the local governments. Because one, if you say a child should move from, for instance, in my village in Vandika to come and write JAM in Makurdi, you mean that child should come to Makurdi and stay? What if it's a child that will not be able to come and stay in Makurdi?
It's a
minor. So this can affect the performance of these students too. So for me, I feel JAM is not well prepared for this exam. The resources are there. JAM centers should be across all the local government, at least
funded by government.
At least in every local government there should be a JAM center, and then the monitoring should also be thorough. They should have staff that will go just like it is done. WAEC does, and then NECO does, and NAPTEC does. It shouldn't be moved to various places to monitor how this exam is written. I think that would be better.
Even the timing is not even. People are expressing concern about the timing.
This particular examination, some candidates were taking their exams as early as 6:30 a.m. And I wanted us to also look at that. Was it actually a convenient time to schedule the examinations, given the number of challenges you have pointed out, like candidates having to move here and there, traveling? Would that have actually been a factor also contributing to maybe the mass failure?
Exactly, because even lectures and school times, both in basic schools, post-basic and university, lectures hardly start at 6:30. And then how can you move from maybe Vandeka into Makurdi and be here at 6:30? The communication is not like good in Nigeria. That is transport system. And some of them don't have relatives in those major cities where they come in to stay to write the exam the next day. So JAM should think critically about the timing of those exams. Exam can begin 9 o'clock. Can begin, you wake up, you are refreshed, and then you go into the exam hall. Or even 12 in the afternoon.
Yes.
Down to 6 p.m. or 4 p.m.
Yes.
They have the luxury of time. Nobody is telling them do this exam in 1 week. After all, the students may have majority of them are graduates from secondary school, so they have all the time to prepare. So JAM, if JAM is listening, JAM should understand that that timing is not correct. Because you sleep, you are not even comfortable. How many of them have money to come into Makurdi and then lodge in hotels? Maybe that are 50,000, 20,000, and then they are battling with feeding. You come in, you are hungry, and all that, and then you go there, you have to queue up and do all that. This is crazy. I think I am talking about breaking the monopoly of JAM. There should be a movement across the country from stakeholders so that JAM will not be the only body that is transiting children into tertiary education, because it has become a burden on parents. And they are celebrating every year that they are failing people for the candidates. And then more revenue is coming back, because all these people, 75% that we're talking about, may end up not attending universities, maybe colleges of education and polytechnics. And some may say, that's not what I was looking for. They will have to write again. And then more money comes to JAM. And then they send it back to government instead of providing the support that is needed for candidates to excel. I don't think that is good enough.
All right. Mr. Ortega, what reforms are necessary to improve the quality of preparation of students for external examinations, especially the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination?
Okay, I think so many reforms should take place, such as improving teachers' training, so that teachers will have the necessary training and resources to effectively teach and support their students, and also to enhance curriculum. The government should review and update the curriculum to ensure it is relevant and effective. There should be increased funding. Government should allocate funds to support education initiative programs. Reverend Father Dr. Tengoto was saying that allocation is not enough for education. That should be taken into properly. Government should promote all this, and then teachers should ensure students are trained to have critical thinking skills, faster critical thinking and problem solving skills. JAM exam is not an exam that one can just look at the question and answer. You have to think critically. People who are in charge of training these students should take note of all this, and then we should address the systemic issues that Father was mentioning, such as policy inconsistencies. The future of Nigeria is not lost yet. All this will be corrected, and the student will start having good grades in their external examinations. Not just JAMB, WAEC and NECO and NATEC too.
Very well. Now, Father Too, there are people who argue that pass admission in tertiary institutions. So, would this be a reflection of what will be their performance at the level of tertiary education if eventually admitted? What reforms would you advocate that are necessary for us to ensure better preparation for the candidates?
Exam is never the true test of one's knowledge, because there are many factors around the exam.
Yes.
And here we're already pointing out deficiencies from various groups. So we need a few improvements in terms of for the government, for JAM itself, regulatory body, to attend to, so that this exam can actually test one's knowledge at least at a minimal level.
Very well.
I think that there should be assessment reforms in our education system, especially in terms of exam. There should be multiple assessment criteria, so that continuous assessment in secondary school, that's post-basic, and then other metrics alongside UTME scores should provide a holistic grade for learners, so they move into the university system or the tertiary system. And then when you see cases of mass failure this way, there are human beings who have created some of this. They should have helplines. Those who have real challenges will be able to complain if it is verified. The robust measures should be taken by JAM candidates as is possible, so that they won't be sending a Benue child to Kaduna Initially, they used to send people here to Kano.
Yes.
Send some to Abuja, send some to Port Harcourt. We need some of those changes. And then there should be a support system from JAMB as a regulatory body. They have the resources. I'm hammering on that. Counseling services. They can support for children who are in those classes. Some of them, after registering for the exam, they discover at the point of registration and passing the exam, they go there, they marks, and was going to read an engineering course. But when the lecturers were assessing him for enrollment, they discovered that instead of writing physics, he registered for physical and health education.
These are some of the inconsistencies arising from the point of even registration.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because some of those, and then because the guy doesn't know, the guy who's there at the registration point too doesn't know, he now clicks on physical and health education, thinking it is physics. Part of that subject combination, these issues that JAMB is bringing forward, and also blaming the candidates, then we're going to have a better outcome. They have the resources. They can deploy JAMB CBT apps in their schools instead of giving them more than books, counseling services, and all that. So there's so much reform that needs to be done, and the student also should take responsibility for their for passing exam. Not you know, if you understand the reason why you are at that point to write an exam for progression into tertiary school, you understand that you need to prepare. You cannot prepare, you cannot pass. Use past questions, use the resources that are available, go through your syllabus from SS1 to SS3. You can't just go into the exam with an empty head and expect that you will get good grades. So many reforms on the part of government, on the part of schools, on the part of JAMB, part of parents.
Let's talk there about the role of the parents and guardians in preparing candidates for their examination. Oftentimes, you stated this earlier, sometimes the attitude of parents towards their children preparing for the examination also is a factor. Let's discuss
that their role in education of their children is to pay their school fees. It does not stop at paying school fees. You know, you are sending somebody to books. You go to many schools, especially those in the villages, you discover that students learn without textbooks. Students learn without the required materials. How do you expect them to pass exam when the materials are not there? And then, unfortunately for schools too, have no such materials. At the end, nothing tangible will be achieved. So parents need to prepare very well. They are in primary school 9 years, 6 years, and 3 years. But whenever I come back, I monitor. I say, let me see your books. Let me see what the teachers teach in school. You teach at home too. Monitor what the teachers are doing. I was shocked when a parent told me that it was never opened. I say, at what point did you discover this? Say, after 3 years. I say, parent, you are reporting after 3 years? The parents should know the school where your child is attend. Put them. Some parents, when they are free, during leisure to study. 7 o'clock work too, if you have chance. So these are the two. They should also help by letting the students know when they are doing this. The children themselves will know that they have something to achieve. The parents want them. Reading culture is just diminishing in our school these days. So that is the role parents should play at home. And if this is complemented by
this issue of parents complementing the role of management of the school in making the children to sit up, they call open day. In some of actually the true meaning of it, and because you give the parents an opportunity once in a term to come into the school. Instead of a PTA meeting, they move into the classes and check how the children are cooperating with teaching and learning, and how the teachers, under the supervision of the management, are also doing. So you ask, it's a day for the parent. They come in and check the books. If your child has never opened a textbook, you will know.
Yes.
Because you will see other textbooks that are torn already. If you say that we don't have a teacher in this subject, then the parent will check the other one and discover that he has even written notes and they have filled a 60-leaf exact book, and your own child has only 10 pages. That is Parents' Day. That is what I introduced in Alede when I was principal of Mount St. Michael's Secondary School, Alede. I introduced this also at the NUJ Penn College and Primary School here in Makurdi. And you can see children who are lazy. When they come in, the parents see that, they begin to have a rethink. So my son is lazy. So you see that synergy begins to come in. So that is Parents' Day, and schools can institute it. Of the teachers who are not doing very well, you discover it, and the children too. And then open day, I don't want people to call it open day here because it's not like that overseas.
Right.
Open day is an opportunity whereby parents come and check a school for prospective candidates.
All right. When you mentioned encouraging that in schools, I was laughing because of something I read somewhere on social media. Someone said, just imagine open days introduced in the university system, for instance. Parents walks into the lecture hall to interact with the lecturer, and a parent asks the lecturer, how is my son doing in school? And the lecturer will respond that I've never seen this guy in my entire life because he has never been to any of the lectures.
And I think the tertiary institutions too should introduce it. Especially the private ones are doing something similar. It's only the public ones.
Anyway, the private ones, there are arguments that they are interested in the number of first class degrees they are producing so as to serve as advertisement. But that's, by the way, we are not demarcating the private universities. Let's stay on the issues. All right, we'll take a short break, dear listener. When we come back, we'll start engaging with you. Kindly stay with us. Welcome back from that short break, and thank you for staying with us. If you are just tuning in, the program is Perspectives on iGate Radio, 95.5 Star FM Makurdi. We are discussing the declining performance matriculation examination, which indicated out of 1.9 million candidates, the JAMB reports that 1.5 million candidates have scored below 200, and that is the basis of our conversation. The number for you to participate on the program is 0814-335-9292. I take it again, 0814-335-9292. Once you connect with us, we'd like to know your name and where you're calling from. Please keep your conversation, your contribution very short and simple. The SMS line is also available for you to utilize, 0912-699.
Yes. Thank you. I want to appreciate the discussion in the radio this morning. The program is so interesting. You see, JAMB is a revenue generating body. To me, the mass failure is just a deliberate attempt to generate more revenue. Why not give the university that autonomy? Individual universities will set exams and give admission to students that apply to study in those various institutions. The monopoly of JAMB is becoming too much. So it is necessary, if this situation continues, let JAMB be scrapped and give individual universities autonomy to admit students of their choice. Because we have talented and potential students who want to read a particular course, because of the failure of these exams, they are not making it. This is my submission.
We appreciate you for calling in, Obeche. Thanks for your submission. In any case, we are not calling for the scrapping of JAMB. That is not the sense. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Hello.
Good morning.
Welcome to Perspectives.
Yes. This is Kwaza Vincent calling from North Bank.
To have you join us, Kwaza Vincent.
Yes. I greet the guests in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Kwaza.
Yes. When I heard, when the JAMB released the result, and I heard the statistics, the massive failure, I was shocked. Because if JAMB were not prepared for CBT exams, they should better go back to paper and pencil, because in any CBT exams, once the students submit, the scores will be displayed for the particular candidate to see. So JAM will keep the results. They said it's computer based, so it seems the computer is marking the exam. So why not, once they submit, the scores come out for the candidate to see? JAM will keep the results, will go and do what we don't know, and at the end they bring out the result and tell us that this is what the student scores. So if they are not prepared for them to use CBT exams, they should go back to paper and pencil the way it was before. So this body needs to be investigated. It needs to be investigated. If not, they should want. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kwaza Vincent. In any case, are you there, Kwaza?
Yes.
Okay, you advocate the return to pen and paper
yes.
adopted.
Yes, because this CBT, once you submit a particular scores on computer, if you submit your details on the pen and pencil, the way it's CBT, they should go back. This is what the student scores.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You join us on Perspectives.
Thank you very much. My regard to the guests in the studio.
Thank you.
This jam, this last jam that has been written, I think two factors that qualify teachers, that's academics, and I never saw them read for once. They'll be rather wandering around. When I ask them that, but I or something like that. So I think it's a poor reading culture and the non-qualified teacher that surround the educational system. That students are not read. How are you going to pass the exam when you doesn't read? So that's my take. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. When teacher training.
From Makwadi, Airport Village, sir. Sir, the issue of the mass failure, it should be blamed on JAM. And the people calling on going back to pen and paper. So I don't think the body should be blamed. Should be blame on the student, blame on the teachers surrounding the student, and the lack of
blame here. We'll get to hear. Let's also hear your opinion, what you think about this. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us on Perspective.
Good morning, Mr. Nathaniel.
All right, Moses, talk to us.
What the high charges is school fees. So most of the parents now rush their children to finish school, just as one. So at the end of the day, some don't even know one, and they go and write a jam.
For examination, Betty. For examination, Betty.
Nam Hotel. All of us. I mean, and the pupils themselves provided infrastructure. To give your children to be implicationally. They are the first people to suffer it. You can see that they were doing some their government shutdown that is placed on education. Education is not valued by government. And then the children, the pupils, they should learn to be independent, or they should have an independent mindset to learning. That is the only way they can be outstanding to learning. They can face any exam, and then they can tackle it. May God help us in this country. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Augustine Eke, we appreciate your position. Children and candidates should learn to be effective. Daniel, which part of book are you calling us from?
I'm calling you from Yandev.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think this is not the first time. Even at GCE, they use that. But I want to blame the students, most especially for that mass failure. You cannot ask a student, bring a reader, student, most especially for that mass failure. You cannot ask a student, bring a reader now and say the student should read. Nobody, no student, even in SS, the SS student, they would not be able to read the reader for you. the teachers too are to be blamed because what they teach. How do they the teachers too are to be blamed because what they teach? How do they teach these students that they cannot even read common this book, read a like literature book or whatever? How do they teach them? That's another thing. And then the issue of handset. That is why the students they will not pray because they are not ready to. Why the students they will not pray because they are not ready to read. They are not ready to learn. 24 hours on the set, browsing, Facebook, this, that, Facebook, this, that. So they have it's not even a. So they have it's not even a parent. The parents have to be blamed because they are parents. The parents have to be blamed because they are watching these students, these children, doing this thing at watching these students, these children, doing this thing at home because they started being most of these students home because they started being most of these students are to blame and then their teachers because if a student cannot read and write at just S3 or SS1, that's my take.
Major Daniel, we appreciate you for your position.
At just S3 or SS1, that's my take.
Major Daniel, we appreciate you for your position. 0814-335-929404. Good morning and thank you for joining us on Perspectives.
Hello, good morning, Nathaniel.
Us on Perspectives.
Hello, good morning, Nathaniel.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice work over there.
Very
Who
well.
is the Fadejo calling?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice work over there.
Very
Who
well.
is the Fadejo calling from Uchichu?
Go ahead, doctors.
Said from Uchichu.
Go ahead, doctors.
Said so far. I think it's lack of preparation. You see, there is a saying that preparation is mother of manifestation. When you don't prepare ahead of what you want to do, I think it will be impossible for. I think it will be impossible for you to get the result. You see, one is going to university, and then place somebody there to help him. I say, wow, to continue your study. How are you going to finish? So what I'm trying to say there is that, like what other callers have said, is lack of preparation. I want to beg the youth. If you want to, do something that will help you in future, why are you joking with it? You can. It won't be possible. Like, as I'm studying here now, before I could do something, I think preparation is needed. So I want to call on the parents to always give encouragement words to their children, so that they can prepare ahead of time, not to just go and sit down and at the end of the day they open whatever. Like, as I give this story to end my call. There is a day again. A young man came out from this job center where he wrote this. I was calling his friend. He said he just failed his CRS because he don't go to church. I said, wow. I was kind of amazing. I said, is it because of church that you are going there, or is church that will teach you to go how to write your jam there? So I think my own submission here is that parents need to wake up and then tell their children the right thing to do, and then so that we can stop blaming the government and the agencies of other this. I think that will be the need. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Joseph Adejo. I appreciate you for calling in your position on the program. It's okay. Somebody first serious and
hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Perspectives.
Morning. This is Adzo Avane calling from opposite gate.
Avane, good to have you join us.
Thank you. The statistical analysis being released by JAM is quite an emergency, a state of emergency, or a wake-up call to educational stakeholders, the student and the Ministry of Education. There are some certain factors responsible for, or that could be attributed to this particular failure, which some of the guests have been discussed in the studio. However, we need to throw more light on some other factors which could also be attributed to this failure. The educational system in Nigeria has been falling greatly. There has been a great decline in the educational system, especially in our secondary school level, and even some in the tertiary system. because there are some schools, most of the schools in Nigeria, they are operating on the, some of the schools are miracle centers. When students have registered for both this national exam like NECO and WAEC, some students, they always feel they are not writing the exams for themselves. They will pay money and then teachers will now write the exam for them, or they will solve the answers for them, then they will now come and copy it. However, it's after this WAEC that students will now go and face this JAM that we are talking about. So how do you expect them to now pass the exam when they are not being prepared in facing all those exams? And again, the reading culture by students has been very poor. Students have not been in contact with the ability of reading. Students neglect the reading ability in order to ensure they take their education seriously. There was one particular scholar that says if you want to hide, have not been reading, have not been taking their education seriously due to the emerging technology you have, like the smartphones and all of that. We are taking it at the expense of our studies. We are no longer studying very well in order to ensure that we excel in any given examination.
Thank you very much.
And there are some other factors like insecurity and all of that, poverty, hunger in the country, which can also be attributed to this failure. So like I earlier said, that this statistical analysis is an emergency or a state of emergency.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Your point is noted. Thanks so much. I'm afraid we'll have to let you go. In any case, the state of emergency, let's be particular, is in the education sector, not any other place, because the state of emergency is a scary word in the country now. Yeah. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning.
To Perspectives.
Yes, this is the voice of I'm your chairman from Ireland.
Chair Emmanuel, good to have you join.
Thank you. I think the massive failure could be attributed to certain facts. You see, the JAM body is actually a unique body that should not be scrapped out of Nigeria education system. Yes, some university would be very difficult for an average person to attend. And then when it comes to the age range, as said by JAM, I really would discuss most of those that scored within 350 and above. I think they're in the age range of 17 and 16. If you really go back to record, they must succeed. The universities or other tertiaries that have CBT centers, I can assure you that a very good number of them have poor facilities. Even go off, that's all. And you can't attribute that to JAM. I think the centers should be cautioned for that. Attached to students, you're writing JAM, you have to move from Makurdi to Sokoto and the rest of them. It's really psychologically balanced, for example. Lack of school is a scam. So I just expect someone who feels school is a scam to read and pass the exam. So you look at it from that, the education system must grow in Nigeria. First, we have to advise ourselves. Secondly, parents also should take caution in learning, because it's not right now in Nigeria. It has been proven that education will not give you food directly, but it's open your brain. So they don't see that should do well on that, and then you will fail. Still, and then it's failing JAM going to stop here.
Thank you very much. I'm Chair Emmanuel, so that we'll see how.
So good morning, Nathaniel. This is thank you. It's my pleasure for the topic of discussion today and the mass failure of JAM. I would like to lend my voice to some of the things I felt might be the problems and also the solutions. First of all, we would like to also give responsibility. To the parent who don't monitor their children these days as it regards to their academic performance and what they do after school. Like 18 who is not in the university, even we the adults are struggling to be able to disconnect ourselves from this toolbox that has become a distraction to the world performance, and it's glue, and the parent is also helping the child to also be able to come out, study their books when it is necessary. A caller gave an example where his siblings are not even reading for these exams. I want to blame JAM for it. JAM has its equal share. Parent had that to blame. The school is also not adequately preparing the student for these exams. I ask these questions. A child is going to write a CBT exam, and the child has never even seen the computer before. If the child goes there and see the computer, definitely you are going to have what is called technophobia, the fear of technology. That fear that grips the child will also affect the performance of the child because he has not seen this before. Even at the higher institutions, people who read computer sciences, some of them have not even had the opportunity to even do practicals on the computer because the school does not even go to the department in BSU here where you have over this. This is also on the part of the school. And then on part of the government, everybody seems to want to defend themselves. I see the person representing Benue State government there trying to defend that Benue State government is doing enough. No,
he is not representing Benue State government. He's only appearing here as an analyst in educationist that he is. Let's make it clear.
Yes, I'm only telling you that I've also listened to the program. He has also tried to take a defense that the government of Benue State is doing enough. A call is a wake-up call to all of us. The Benue State government should be able to monitor these schools. Enough computer teachers in those schools for the students to even do their oversight functions over the schools and ensure that the school also meet up with its standard and also what is expected of them. The institution also had its own blame. JAM should not be declaring profits, like your speaker there has spoken. JAM should be able to also build its independent. They will be able to sit up to even 500, 1,000 students per time. And this had to also be driven down to all the local government, all the 774 local government in Nigeria.
Thank you, Friday.
This is also part of the government, that government should also look at this thing. Because if you don't prepare to succeed, you prepare to fail. Preparation is the reason why we are seeing the result today. And both all the stakeholders in the educational system should be brought on board and see where we have failed. Let us not put the blame on the federal government alone. Thank you. This is my submission this morning.
We appreciate your submission, Friday. Thanks for calling it. In any case, let's make it clear. The father to whom you are referring to as the representative of Benue State government is appearing here just as an educationist. And morning, thank you for joining us.
Hello, good morning.
Come to Perspectives.
Good morning. I'm speaking with Harry Desmond here in Macaulay. That blame should not be passed across to anybody. Because you have to blame the JAM, it will not solve the matter. You have to blame parents or our education sector. Now, if any teacher go ahead to this from that establishment, and now even that is what makes it has created fear in the life of many teachers now. A child may misbehave, they don't care because they are after their salary. They want to collect the salary at the end of the month. They don't care about whether the child is coping up or is not coping up. Whether there is computer, whether there is qualified teacher, and the child is not meeting up, then they can still pass JAM. So I want us that they should bring back that discipline aspect in the education system. That discipline aspect should be brought back, where a child will be now. If a teacher punish a child, parents will even go to school and harass teachers, harass the school authority, and that has made students now to feel free. Look at in our educational sector now, we have courses everywhere. People are not most of our speakers they mention issue of handset. Student operating handset, social media, and so on, because of there is no discipline. If there is discipline, who are you as a student to why teacher is teaching you are busy operating handset or you are roaming about on the street? Why you are not there in the class to face what your parents pay the school fees for? So I want us to bring back, let the authority in control bring back that discipline aspect in our educational sector. That will help to solve most of these problems we are facing now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harry. We appreciate you. Discipline should be instilled. Let's take some messages before we come back, and we'll begin from our live stream feed on social media. Jonathan Hile Benjamin, he says, for my own opinion, teachers are the ones to be blamed and not students or parents. Thanks. I'm Jonathan Hile from Nakagwe West. Okay, Jonah, thank you. And Ondungo Ako says he's enjoying every bit of this program. Keep it up. Ondungo, thank you. We appreciate you. And he says, I blame today's students. 90%. Examination malpractice has become the order of the day. It starts from nursery schools to primary, secondary, and even tertiary institutions. No one sees the need for hard work in school any longer. Ondungo Ako, thank you for your opinion. And from our text message box here, good morning, presenter, with your guests. My take is poor parenting, collapse of our education system, negative influence of social media on the younger generation, and lack of proper investment by JAMB in the basic infrastructure that would enable candidates to have smooth exams are the factors that produce this bad performance. We need to wake up and be serious with our education system, or the West is yet to come. Joe Kennedy from International Market in Makurdi. Joe Kennedy, thank you. We should not get to the West. We should get to the best. This one says, the recent mass failure in the UTME is disheartening, sad, and unfortunate. This development was caused by a number of factors that your discussants have elaborately discussed. In addition, I believe that JAMB is no longer in the position to effectively conduct entrance examinations to over 400 universities, polytechnics, monotechnics, and colleges of education. This monopoly should be broken and more efficient bodies established to complement JAMB. Gabriel Onyilo from Honor Occupy Extension in Makurdi. Gabriel Onyilo, we appreciate your position. Good morning. I am Ashwe Raymond from Taraku. I think students have to put in more efforts, as most teachers do their best thinking that their students will make them proud, and government should use the revenue generated from the registration and establish more centers. Okay, Ashwe Raymond, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Nathaniel, and your guest on the program. I am Kanti Michael from Gado Villa in Makurdi. The decline in JAMB results this year is the worst. It's a worrying situation to anybody who is concerned about the